case came from 𝗣𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁𝘀 where it still don't sleep. Raised by his mom, pops ghost in the street. Concrete cradled him, lullabies and sirens. Pain made him sharper than a shank in Rikers. Crip rags in his closet, but his heartbeat wise. Knew lost at 10, saw a soul leave eyes. Mama drove bus, his hands cracked and bruised. Told him be more than the block you choose. We met on Spruce, locked in, no flinch. Blood couldn't make us closer by an inch. Face was a warrior, cold but kind. He ain't just survived, he redesigned.
Congratulations, gladiators, they graduate. I'm glad you made it through all the hatred. I hate it, couldn't be the fate debated.
Everybody get started. Come on in there, go ahead and click that, tap that screen. We're about to get into it.
Some burn bridges, some burn the set. Some earth stripes, some place they bet.
Trip came from LA, raised by his queen. No pops, just hunger and gangster dreams. Slim, tall, and dark pain behind a smile. Dodge fake daily, ran with wolves wild. His mom called my pops when he didn't make it home after dark. And my answer like,
get into it.
From the start, I gave Trip structure, he gave me fire. Two halves of war, faith and desire. We chased skirts, fought ops, baptized in sin. Banged out pride with bloodstained grin. Loyal to the soul, not just the turf. We ain't find heaven, we dug it from earth.
Congratulations, gladiators, they graduated. I'm glad you made it through all the hatred. I hate it, couldn't be the fate debated, but it's more me that now never faded. See that look close,
clicking on that T.
keep your circle tight, but the fake
Clicking on that healing water. Y'all come on up in here, pound the like button, show love to black content creators, don't be a hater. We about to get into it. Hit that like button.
He taught me to move with a soldier's poise.
Share the live.
My dad gave face, me and Trip that guy. Their moms hugged me like I never left their side. We ain't shared blood, but we shared that pain. Shared the same block, same hood, made chains. From chasing women to ducking raids. From stick-up missions to street parades. We stood 10 toes, built from the mud. Now gladiators crowned in brotherhood love.
Congratulations, gladiators, they graduated. I'm glad you made it through all the hatred. I hate it, couldn't be the fate debated, but it's more me than I'll never fade.
Y'all enjoying the vibes? Y'all enjoying the music? We about to get into it.
Some burn bridges, some burn the set. Some earth stripes, some place they bet.
Come on. I'll be dropping this single real soon. Probably tonight, tomorrow, sometime this week. I'll drop the single. I'll have 2 singles out. Too Much and a Graduated Gladiators. And I'm working on my album. So, come on. And we gotta get into some game, family. We gotta get into some game. A lot of people in their feelings. I tell you, man, if you get in your feelings because you get challenged, I don't know what to tell you, man. We gonna dispel all lies today, though. We dispelling all lies today.
Congratulations, gladiators, they graduated. I'm glad you made it through all the hatred. I hate it.
Come on.
Couldn't be there, fate debated, but it's more me than I'll never face.
We about to get into it, y'all. We about to start the show. The show's starting right now.
I ain't never switch.
I was raised in the lion's den, standing on truth.
I don't follow, I inspire men, loyal to the code. Got the wisdom of 1,000. Every move I make for the fam, that's the fountain.
Hit that like button. Let's get you at least 3,000 likes. Come on.
Character solid, you can read between the lines. Talk what I live.
Tap that screen.
When I speak, name, hold, weight in the west.
I'm supposed to start an hour early, but I had some things. But I'm here. I'm here. I'm too much, I'm the moon and the sun. When you see me on the street, I be on TikTok. We standing on business. Everybody know me.
When you see me on the street,
too much, I be on TikTok. Always standing on business.
Legacy on my back, I don't bend, I don't fold.
Come on.
Too much to name, but
all right, let's jump into it, y'all. Y'all get my likes up. If y'all seen the show yesterday, if y'all seen the show Saturday, we're going to do a continuation of Saturday. I want to go deeper. You know, I talked about how we can't trust the Moors. You know, I told y'all as FBAs, we can't trust the Moors. They know too much. They're not telling everything. And they want to sell this game and sell this lie to us and make us out to be Africans just along with the Pan-Africanists. Let's keep it a buck. Okay? Let's keep it a buck. They know who we are. And I'm about to prove to you who we are. I'm about to continue on the path. We are foundational Black Americans, but let's keep it a buck. We've been misclassified. Okay? We are the original copper-colored races on this continent. Let's keep it a buck. We're the original copper-colored races, and we've just been misclassified. And the truth is out there, y'all. I mean, I keep telling y'all there's hidden knowledge and then there's forbidden knowledge. What I'm talking about is this forbidden knowledge. This forbidden knowledge is not hidden from you. It's put in plain sight, and it's part of the psyop. It's part of the propaganda, and it's part of the witchcraft. Right? Hidden knowledge, that's the knowledge that's locked away in the Vatican, right? That's the knowledge that they have in their homes that you're not in, right? That's them little blackface dolls, you know, that they got hidden up in their homes, and them little trinkets they have. And, you know, those little things that they use as good luck charms. Okay, that's that occultist mindset, right? That's the hidden knowledge. But the forbidden knowledge is hidden from you in plain sight. And that's what I'm talking about. A lot of stuff been going on, man. A lot of propaganda and witchcraft, and we got to get to it, man. We got to get to it. So let me get my notes together, and then we're just going to hit it hard, man. We're just going to hit it hard, okay? We are just going to hit it hard. What are we talking about, man? We are talking about the Colonizers Pen writing us out. I think this is episode 4, if I'm not mistaken. We're in episode 4, and we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty. Okay? You weren't erased with chains. I want y'all to understand that. You were not erased with chains. You are erased with the pen. They wrote you out of history. They wrote you out of history. They unalived all your elders. And those who weren't old enough to know what was happening to them, they just reclassified you. They just reclassified you. So today we're diving into one of the greatest cover-ups in American history. Okay? The way the pen, paper, and policy, the way they used pen, paper, and policy to erase our ancestors from history. That is the greatest cover-up in American. Think about how movies are so important. Think about how every time you watch a cowboy movie, right? Movie with John Wayne, or you know, the Dirty Dozen, the Hateful Eight, you know, all these cowboy movies, you know, Dances with Wolves, and all these movies, right? And everything is whitewashed. You think that's just you think that's just by happenstance that they whitewash everything? You think that's just by happenstance that they make the cowboys white, not black? You think that's by happenstance? You think that's by happenstance that they make the Indians look Mexican or Hispanic or Italian and not the true copper-colored people, Black Americans? Do you understand that? Isn't that kind of funny that they make the Egyptians white, and the Egyptians that are over in Egypt today are the Arabs? Isn't that kind of, you think you're not being psyoped, but you are. You've been under heavy propaganda and witchcraft. Listen, you don't put your kids in the same school as the colonizers. You don't do that. You don't let the enemy train or teach your children. And we kind of just fell for it. That's why the things I'm saying today, some of y'all are going to resist what I'm saying, because the propaganda, the witchcraft is that heavy. It's that heavy. It's like when I say the Democrats don't care about you. Oh, y'all go crazy. Y'all go crazy. When we try to teach you that the Democrats are the original 𝗔𝗶𝗴𝗵𝘁𝘀. When we try to teach you that they're the smiling foxes. They're the ones that smile in your face. And you're like, you're so, you've been voting this way for so long. It's habit. You've been under heavy propaganda and witchcraft. So I know everything I'm telling you, a lot of y'all are gonna resist it. The Matrix has you. Y'all been force-fed the blue pill for so long that you love it. You're addicted. You're having an addiction. You're under a strong addiction. That's what's going on. You're under a strong addiction. Yeah, Liz Taylor played clip. Listen, there's a reason why they whitewash everything, because the whole forbidden knowledge, the whole cover-up is so you don't ever figure out that this is your land. They didn't just take the land. They took your name. They took your face. And they told the world you were never here. You were brought over on ships. I'm a foundational Black American. I stand on it. I know who I am. I know who my parents told me I am. I'm not here to deny the transatlantic slave trade. I'm not saying there was some events that took place. There's some people that's going to deny it altogether and say, oh man, there was no ships over here. Where are the ships? Let them do that. But I'm here to speak truth to power today and let y'all know what's really going on. There were 3 groups on this land. There were 3 classifications on this land. And you can do your history and you can do your study to know it. Actually, there was 4 groups, because one group was brought over here and they called those people that they brought here Native Americans. They called them civilized tribes. It gets heavy, y'all. Some of y'all are not going to believe nothing I'm saying. Some of y'all are going to say pretending, all that BS stuff. Listen, it's documented though. And the proof is not hidden. It's just forbidden. That's the difference. The truth is not hidden. It's just forbidden. A lot of things they hide in plain sight because the best cover-up is hidden right in front of your face. You're so numb to it. You see it every day and you don't understand what you're looking at. It's just ho-hum, ho-hum. It's just ho-hum, ho-hum. But the four groups that were here, that one was brought here, or 2 was brought here, and 2 groups was already here. One of them, if y'all was at the very first episode I did talking about the original American faces, the definition of American. Did you know the definition of American in 1828 is not the same definition as it is today? I thought, you know what? We need to know. I thought everyone knew that. I don't. Does everybody know it? I don't think everybody knows it. We got a lot of confused people on TikTok. We got a lot of people thinking that we're aliens or something. I don't know. People just jump on TikTok and say anything. You know, I was talking to a young brother that came in here. Man, listen, man. If you're in your feelings, if you're afraid to be challenged on what you're saying, then this isn't the live for you. Don't request up. You know, I gave out my personal number to a few people, and I gave out my personal number to some dude. I don't even know this dude. I gave, you know, he wanted to chop it up. I'm always willing to chop up game. I'm not afraid of being doxxed or none of that stuff. I'm not afraid of all that stuff that other people are afraid of on the internet and stuff like that. I'm just not. I'm not afraid of it. I don't have nothing to hide. Yeah, I'm a real person. People can reach out to me and we can chop it up. And dude tried to just, you know, dude tried to tell me that some tribe in South Carolina called themselves Negro before before the Europeans called them Negroes. I mean, this is how weird knowledge is. And he started quoting out different books, and come to find out, he was quoting a small hat historian. And I don't know. But dude got real butthurt on the phone today, and he made a stupid little video about FBAs and about me or something like that. And you know, shout out to that brother, man. I wish that brother the best, man. Continue standing on business, doing what you do. But when you engage in a conversation and you get emotional and you get hyped up because I'm not gonna believe every word you say, you know, and when you start bringing up books and stuff that don't even talk about what you're trying to talk about, trying to back your stuff up, when you have the wrong information, when you're not together with your information, what can you blame me for not believing what you got to say? Can you blame me? I mean, you dang near told me that the word Negro came from here, when we know the Europeans called us Negro. Negro is a Latin word, okay? So it's crazy. It's crazy. He tried to tell me that the 𝗤𝗏𝗄𝐺𝐻 called himself a Negro tribe or something like that. I mean, he said this tribe in South Carolina were calling themselves Negroes before the Europeans came over here, and that's why he calls himself Negro. And I was like, what? What? Are you okay? I'm not an Indian, I'm a Negro. I've been a Negro on this land forever. My people called us Negro. What? And the crazy thing about it is, if you look at the dude, he's one of them white passing blacks. He's one of them white. Yeah, everybody knows Negro is a Latin word. This dude is insane. He's insane. He seems to think that Negro is Americans' word. And I'm like, no, brother. But it's okay. He's willing to fight tooth and nail for that. And I'm standing for reparations for our people. I've been fighting for 3 years. And I'm like, brother, you haven't done anything though. If you're just doing another study, we did that already. We've been doing studies for the past 20 years on reparations. So what you do, another study? You wrote up a proposition for another study? What? That's a nothing burger. Big nothing burger. But anyway, back to what I was talking about. We were classified as American Negro. There was also the African Negro. There was also the American Creole. Okay? And then there was another group brought over here to replace the Indians that we know now today as Native Americans or $5 Indians. Let's keep it a buck. If Iron Eyes Cody, anybody know who Iron Eyes Cody is? Iron Eyes Cody is this Italian man. He's Italian, full-blooded Italian, who played in all these cowboy and Indian movies. He's called Iron Eyes Cody. If an Italian man can play and pretend and fake to be a Native American, what does that tell you about the Native Americans? It's a psyop. The Native Americans should not be looking Italian. They should not be looking Hispanic. Let's keep that a buck. Sorry to all my Hispanic people out there who claim Aztec warrior. So I'm sorry. I'm sorry to all you, Puerto Ricans who are more African. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I gotta speak truth to power. Just because you don't know it to be true and you are part of the brainwashing and the propaganda, they have to make you believe you are who you are because you're a made up race. Uh-oh. Did I just say that out loud? You're a made up race. You're a made up race. I'm sorry they brought you here and they made it that you were a made up race and they put you in Indian training schools and we were teaching you how to be us. I'm sorry. And you know what? If you were to find what country in Africa you came from, that would not they would not want you. They would be very embarrassed by you say, and you are not one of them. I don't even know what that means. Anyway, listen, my African brothers from across the waters. You don't know anything of what I'm talking about. Why? Because you also been colonized. You are an amalgamation of many different tribes on your homeland. They defeated your elders and then put you on a land and called you Nigeria, called you Ghana, called you all these different things, and you don't even know. Listen, there's no documentation, there's no paperwork that can prove anything of who you are. And that's why you don't know what's going on here in America, because you've been colonized. They told you what happened. Listen, they pulled the okie doke on you, brother. That's why when your American brothers try to tell you we're not African, you want to make us African because you don't know what really happened on this land. You don't know. You've been fed some lies. The same lies they put on television about us, that we were criminals and we were this and we were that. You believed it. You didn't do your research. You just accepted it. You think you're smarter than the Black American. And they're putting us in competition with each other. That's why when we tell you the truth, you feel like the need to compete. No, nigga, you African. You look like my cousin. Shut up. Shut up. Just shut up. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. You know it and I know it. But you don't want to admit it because the brainwashing and the propaganda is so real. Listen, everybody watch American movies, y'all. Hollywood is global. So whatever they play over here in Hollywood and and you guys watch it over in your land, you believe it. So as long as they keep portraying Black Americans as criminals and slow and loud and, all these stereotypes, we like watermelon, chicken, all this stuff, y'all are going to believe it. Y'all are going to believe it. So again, I know that a lot of y'all are going to resist what I have to say. I know you're going to resist. I know, because it's, the truth is, you can't handle the truth. That's just what it is. You've been under heavy propaganda and witchcraft for so long, you can't handle the truth. Y'all get my likes up. Get my likes up. Get my likes up. Yeah, they showed them the videos and they told them that they were better than us and they believed it. Listen, if you were better than, I might put like, if you were better than us, your homeland wouldn't be in shambles the way it is right now. Let's keep it a buck. You've been hoodwinked. We all been hoodwinked. We all been under this heavy propaganda. Even black Americans are under heavy, heavy propaganda and witchcraft. A lot of us can't let go of the Democratic Party. That's part of the propaganda and witchcraft right there. A lot of us is sitting back eating peanuts watching Roland Martin and thinking he's the freaking truth. Listen, man, a lot of black people still voted for Kamala Harris. Let's keep it a buck. A lot of people still love the 𝗔𝗴𝗵𝗵𝘁𝘀𝗀𝗶cie and the Greek and the black Greeks. And they don't know that them are the very people that are selling us out. The very people who are selling us out. A lot of you brothers and sisters from the Caribbean, I love y'all. But y'all have a tethered class that you don't want to check, that you don't want to call out, that you often agree with. And they get involved in our politics and they crash out our reparations meetings. Imagine if black Americans went over to Jamaica or to the Caribbean islands right now and start getting involved in your politics and crashing out everything that's good for y'all over there. Y'all would turn against us just like we're doing here. We're not really turning against you. We're just saying, hey, go take care of your business. We're gonna take care. We're just delineating. We're just delineating. You know, and we got a lot of our black indigenous, our black Indians, our American Indians who are brainwashed too and under propaganda. Some of them don't want to believe that you got defeated. How else could they take over America if they didn't defeat you? What are you, a POW? If you weren't enslaved, if you weren't sent to the reservation, you became black. You became Negro. You became colored. And if prior to 1865, you was either an American Indian or you were a slave. That's it. If you were part of the copper-colored race, they considered you African. Oh, you just pretended, nigga. I don't care how many feathers you put in your head. You just pretending, nigga. You African, and we're gonna put you in some We're gonna put you in some chains. So, again, the propaganda and witchcraft is real. It's real, y'all. It's real. We've all been under this heavy propaganda. White folks too. Poor whites. They've been under heavy propaganda and witchcraft too, because guess what? We went to school with them. Why do you think they wanted us to integrate? As long as we stayed segregated, we was gonna we was gonna know the truth and hold to it. Segregation was a trick. Why do you think they allowed it? Because they wanted us to go to the same school as them so they can indoctrinate us with... See, if we're segregated, they don't know what we're learning. They don't know who's teaching us what. But if we're all under the same umbrella, the same educational system, they know exactly what we're teaching you. And they know exactly how to control you because you're all under the same umbrella of propaganda and witchcraft. You understand that? That was part of you losing your identity, because if you talk to your parents who were born in the 1940s, my dad was born in 1942, I'm going to tell you what they told you. If you talk to your grandparents, right, they told you was Indian, brother. They told you we ain't no African. That's what they told you because they remembered. They know what happened to men. If any of you ever got to talk to your great grandparents before they passed away, they would tell you. They would tell you before all this, man, man, listen, this stuff is heavy, y'all. This stuff is heavy. So between 1898 and 1914, the U.S. government started registering members of the 5 civilized tribes. If your people were Choctaw, Chickasaw, Creek, Cherokee, or Seminole, this was supposed to preserve your status, right? This. Can you turn that down? Hold on real quick. Can you turn that down? Can you turn that down? Thank you. Sorry about that. This was supposed to preserve your status. But here's the scam. If your skin was too dark, or your hair too curly, or your bloodline too black, you weren't put on the tribal rolls. Hence the word $5 Indian. Hence the word they brought over Siberians to replace you. You were placed on the freedman's roll. If you were this color, you were placed on the freedman's roll. That's the scam. You weren't put on the tribals where you were placed on the freedman's roll. That meant legally you were no longer an American Indian or a Native American. You were Negro. And this happened between 1898 and 1914. That's what happened. It's called the Dawes Roll. Go look it up. Everything I'm saying can be researched and fact checked and everything. I don't gotta lie. It's not heavy. It's simple side on one thing. Yeah. We standing on truth right now. Get them likes up. Get them likes up, man. I should be at 10,000 already. Get the likes up. Okay, show love, man. We spitting game over here, man. We spitting game. Listen, I don't got a Cash App on my profile, y'all. I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this for my people. Cause y'all need to wake up. Just, what's wrong with some free likes? So it can be picked up on the algorithm so more people can get the game. So changing the label and changing the legacy. That's what they were doing to us. Let's walk this through. Your great-grandmother might have been listed as Indian in the 1900s. Your great-grandmother, your great-grandparents might have been listed as Indian in the 1900s. That's why a lot of you guys need to go back and do your genealogy, right? But by 1930, listen to this, but by 1930, she became a Negro. Same skin, same land, different label. Let me say that again. Let me walk this through for y'all again. Your grandmother, your great-grandmother in the 1900s may have been listed as an Indian. But by 1930, she became a Negro. You understand? All because she had this color skin. This could have been your grandmother right here. This could have been your grandmother right here. But by the time 1930 happened, suits, ties, muumuus, dresses, she became a Negro. She assimilated. She didn't want to go to the reservation, y'all. She chose to join the American corporation. She opted in. Unbeknownst to her, she opted in. This happened all across the South. Alabama. If your people are from Alabama, my family's from Alabama. My family's also from Georgia. Alabama, Georgia, Mississippi, the Carolinas. Our people didn't move. The label moved. Louisiana, right? Remember the American Creoles. The American Creole. That was a real classification in the 1800s. Creoles are us. The first, listen, all you Caribbeans who think y'all speak Creole, Creole was in Louisiana first. That's our language. That's us. Y'all morphed it into French and Spanish, or French and English. But Louisiana, them was the original Creoles right there. That's us. So the land didn't move, just the labels. Just the labels, y'all. The land didn't move, just the labels. Census enumerators were instructed to use visual classification. Translation: if you looked black, your history got blacked out. If you looked black, your history got blacked out. Census enumerators were instructed to use visual classification. They were instructed to use visual classification. They were instructed. They were instructed. So guess what? If you showed up to the census and you looked black and you may have been an Indian all your life, they classified you as black. See how that works? They don't care how many feathers you put in your hair. They don't care how many feathers you put in your hair. They don't care how many tribal dances you did. If you showed up to the census and you looked black, whether you was Indian or not, you were black. The colonizers' pen writing this out. This is our land. The original term for American was copper-colored races. That's the original term for the Americans. Europeans back then in the 1800s knew they were immigrants on this land. They didn't call themselves Americans until later on, the 1900s. That's what they don't want to tell you in your history books. They weren't calling themselves Americans until later on. Even after 1776, they weren't calling themselves Americans. They had a definition for American. An American was copper-colored races that Europeans found here. Go look it up. Webster's Dictionary, 1828, definition of American. Go look it up. Go look it up. And again, the census enumerators were instructed to use visual classification. So if you looked black, if you had Negroid features, you became a Negro. That's what it was. That's it. That's it. I mean, hey, listen, I know this is deep for y'all, man. I know this is deep for y'all. I know that you want to resist everything I'm telling you with your might. You know, that's like you having a name. Your parents gave you this name, or you were told this was your name for so long that when somebody starts calling you by your real name, you reject it. That's not me. I'm Toby, fool. I'm Toby. I'm Toby. I get it, man. I get it. But listen, everything I'm telling y'all, we're gonna slow walk this. We're gonna slow walk this, and we're gonna unpack everything, and hopefully, some of y'all are gonna be like, have that aha moment, and come out from up under the propaganda and witchcraft, because you're under heavy propaganda and witchcraft, and that's why you can't accept the truth. That's why the Africans can't accept that we're not African, because they're under heavy they're colonized. You've been colonized. Your mind has been colonized. Your land has been colonized. Your people have been colonized. So I don't expect you to hear what I'm saying. I expect you to be in the comments saying, "You African nigga, you African nigga," but that doesn't change anything. That doesn't change anything. The truth is still the truth. The truth is still the truth. So let's talk about the villain behind the pen, right? Who was the villain behind the pen? Who was the villain behind the pen? I want y'all to Google a name for me. Walter Plecker. P-L-E-C-K-E-R. Walter Plecker. Just Google that name. Walter Plecker. In 1924, he passed the Racial Integrity Act in Virginia. The law said there were only two races. Two races. You were either colored or white. Colored or white. If you were Indian, not anymore. You were legally changed to colored. Forget mulatto. If you had more Negro features, if you had remember the one drop rule? That's Walter Plecker. If white man lay down with a black woman and they have a mixed baby, guess what happened? That baby became black. If an Indian lay down with an African, guess what happened? That Indian and that African mixed baby became black. If that Indian lay down with a white man, that Indian woman laid down with a white man, married a white man, whatever. They couldn't marry back then. If that Indian woman had more black features and she laid down with that white man and they had a baby, that baby became black. That's just what it was. Still today. The one drop rule. If you got one drop of Negroid features, you're black. You can thank Walter Plecker for that. You can thank him for that. He did that. Plecker sent letters to hospitals, schools, churches, and courts demanding that no Native identity be recognized. Did you know that? He sent letters to hospitals, schools, churches, and courts demanding that no Native identity be recognized. Babies born in tribal families were immediately marked colored on their birth certificate. So how many people who did their genealogy found documents where their grandparents were labeled colored? If your grandparents were labeled colored, there's a high chance that they were Indian. If you got colored on your birth certificate, there's a 90% chance that you were really an Indian. You were really a Native American. And I hate using both those words, to be honest. Native American and Indian, I hate using it. I really just want to say black indigenous or copper colored, but hence the terminology that I have to use these terminology that we're familiar with. That's part of the propaganda and the witchcraft, right? I got to use it. The paper genocide. This was known as the paper genocide. Well, that's in South Africa. Over here was a different thing over here, brother. If you were called colored over here, it was because of a guy named Walter Plecker. And you can thank Walter Plecker for them calling you colored over there, because where do you think the Dutch learned how to colonize you and put y'all into an apartheid state? They learned it by studying the United States. So the reason why they were able to go down to South Africa and do what they did to y'all for so long until 1960, because they learned it from the United States. That's why some of the words, I'll let you up in a minute, brother. I'll let you up in a minute. I'm gonna let you up. Just be a little patient. Just be a little patient. I just want to run through these things real quick, and I want to bring people up, and I want to chop up some game with you. I want to chop up game with everybody. But I gotta slow walk this and cook this for my people. Okay. Now let's talk about how they made us forget it. How'd they make us forget that we were who we said we were? How'd they make us forget this? It's called the public schools. It's called the original indoctrination camps. You all got an American education. And two things happen in American education. If you went to any school in America, right? You were bred to be racist. If you were a YT man and you went to school in the United States, the indoctrination, whether you were good-hearted or not, you have they inbred in you racism and bigotry towards black people. That's the way the schools were designed. And if you were black, you were also under bigotry, and they wanted you to hate white people. That's just the way that's the way the American system was. And they wanted you to forget that you were indigenous to this land. That's why they never taught it in schools. They said you were a slave and you came from Africa. That's what they wanted you to know, and they drilled it into your head. They just kept drilling it to your head from pre-K all the way up into college. Even in the historically black colleges, they brainwashed you to believe you were African. The Boulets, the Black Greeks. Exactly. Psychological. I can't say that word, but you know what it is. It's a psyop. If you went to school in America, you were bred to be racist towards white and black. And you were told to forget and never know that this land that you're on right here belonged to you. From kindergarten to college, they fed us lies. All Native Americans wore feathers and lived in teepees. That's what they wanted you to believe. Listen, they didn't want you to know that there were buildings. Hold up, listen. They didn't want you to know that there were buildings already here in America when they came. They didn't want you to know that. They want you to believe that Indians were nomadic people and lived in teepees. They didn't want you to know that some of them plantations were owned by Indians. Uh-oh, I better be quiet. Let me give y'all time to process that some of those plantations were owned by black indigenous people. I'm just going to be quiet. Let it sink in. Anybody ever heard of the Iroquois Nation? Anybody ever heard of the Iroquois Nation? I'm just going to let it sink in a little bit. We had building structures. We had mounds. We weren't living in teepees, y'all. We were not. We had buildings here. We had architecture here. Okay, I'm gonna slow it down. Let me just let it sink in, because y'all want to resist. Y'all are gonna want to fight me on this. They wanted you to believe that black people came here only through slavery. and that there are no such thing as black Indians. That's what the public school system taught you. That's what the public system taught you. Come, man, so what happened? So what happened to him? So what happened to him? What do you think happened to him? I want y'all to Google Chicago 1890. Just Google Chicago 1890 and see what Chicago looked like before they burnt it down. Just look at it. Man, let me tell you, there were so many buildings and structures over here in the United States. And I told you, they wanted to erase the history that we were ever here. They wanted to erase the history that we were ever here. There's still, listen. There's a reason why we can't go to Area 51 in the Grand Canyon. And I'm going to say it like this. It's not because of some aliens. It's not because of some aliens. There's a reason why the Grand Canyon is off limits. It's off limits. Area 51, off limits. And it's not because of some damn aliens. There's a reason why certain things are just classified. And they have to redact a lot of things when they release it, because if they release the whole thing without it being redacted, you would know what the heck is really going on. It's like they tell you what's going on, but they still make sure they blot out the names, the timelines, and certain words and certain things that can give it away. They kind of leave you with the question mark. They kind of leave you with a question mark. And we swallowed it because we never saw our faces in those books. They took our faces out the books, y'all. They gave you the face of an Italian in place of an Indian, and we believed it. They gave you the face of a YT man as the face of a cowboy, and you believed it. They made YT masculine, and you believed it. We were the masculine ones. We're the face of masculinity in America. Black Americans are. We're the face of masculinity in America. We are the masculine ones. They just wrote us out and made them look masculine. That's what happened. That's what happened. Let's talk about how the colonizers' pen turned blood into paper. Let's talk about how the colonizers' pen turned blood into paper. Now let's go back further to 1828. Look at the original Webster's Dictionary again of the word American. The word American was defined as a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans. Who were the Aboriginals and the original copper-colored people? If the definition of America in 1828 was a native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans, who were they talking about? Who looks copper-colored? Somebody go find a freaking penny. Somebody go find a copper-colored penny and hold it up to themselves and say, am I copper? Am I kind of copper-colored? That was us, the coppered colored people. We were the original definition of American, but by the time the colonizer was done writing, the word American now means them. The word American now means them. And you know what they hate? You know what they hate most today? You know what confuses them most today is black patriotism. When we show patriotism to our country, it confuses white people. They don't know how to handle it. Because they made themselves the face of patriotism. And they made us seem like we were the antagonist to patriotism. See, why do you think they want to call us African American? Because if they allow ourselves to call us African American and we believe we're African American, then we no longer care what happens to America, right? So now we're looked at as the ones that are bringing America down, and they look like the ones that are bringing America up. But when we start showing patriotism to America, when we start showing patriotism to our land, when we start reclaiming our history and who we were, guess what it makes them look like? It makes them look like they are bringing America down. See, you see how that switches? It makes the enemy, it makes us the hero and them look like the enemy. Now, if it's the other way around, it makes them look like the hero and they make us look like the enemy. But when we start showing patriotism to this country, it makes them look less of a patriot and us more of a patriot. Why? Because we actually have real ties to this land. They were the original immigrants. You're right. They were the original immigrants. And you're right. The power of the pen. The power of the pen. So it's a wake-up call. What you can do now. You're not crazy for remembering what your grandmother said. You're not crazy because you remembered your grandmother and your grandfather saying you were not African, that you were Indian. You're not crazy. I want y'all to know that. You're not crazy. You're not wrong for knowing something was off in high school or off in school, period. If you always felt like something was off in school, you're the sane one. I've always felt that too. Like, how could Christopher Columbus discover America when there were people already here? You know, you just knew something was off when they fed you the lies of 𝗤𝗏𝗏𝗵𝘁𝘀𝗀𝗶cie and were named after 𝗤𝗏𝗏𝗵𝘁𝘀𝗀𝗏𝗵𝘁 and all. When they fed you, when they told you that Columbus Day and man, listen. You're not crazy. You're not crazy that your grandparents told you you were Indian. My parents told me you got Blackfoot and you got Cherokee Indian in you. They told me that. Now listen, when they told me that, I'll be honest. I love my dad, and my dad was an honorable man. He was a man of high integrity. But even that, I thought my dad was crazy when he told me I was Blackfoot and Cherokee. And I thought, oh man, all black people say that. All black people say that they're Indian. Man, that ain't, you don't know what you're talking about, Dad. I went to school, and school told me we were brought here on slave ships, and we're African, Dad. You don't know. You not down. You old school, Pops. You old school. I used to tell my dad that. I used to laugh at my dad because, man, I don't know how many times I heard when I hung around the older black people that they told me, man, we were Indian. And I used to laugh at them like, man, I'm African. Man, I went to school and the school told me I was African. And that's what all old black people say. Because they don't want to be black or they ashamed of who they, whatever I was telling myself. Right? But the truth is the truth. You're not African American by default. You're not a generic African. I don't care what your DNA test may say. Hold on real quick. They want me to do some type of verification. Hold on. What is this? What is this? Jesus Christ. Hold on. Jesus Christ. Let me do this verification real quick. Boom. All right, back. We did the verification. So, listen. Listen. You're not a generic African. You're not African American by default. We're not any of those things. We know who we are. We're the copper color races. We've been classified by so many different things. And today, all we've done was combine all the many tribes, all the many copper colored tribes. We just combine them under one umbrella. And there's two names that we use today that are interchangeable. We use foundational Black American. Why do we say foundational Black American? Because even some of us who love to call ourselves Black, that can be co-opted. Many melanated people are flooding into this country. And when they get here, they mysteriously become African American or Black. And we have to protect our culture, protect our rich history, and we have to protect our lineage. So we put foundational on there so they know that we are of the ones that were here in the beginning. We are foundational Black American or American freedmen. We are freedmen or foundational Black American. Why do we use these terms and not go back to Indian? Why do we use these terms and not go back to our tribe? Yamasee, Choctaw, Creek, Seminole. Why do we use these terms? Because this term, the reason why we use foundational Black American or freedmen, because first of all, we're already classified as those things. They've already did the okie doke and pinned it in to where you can't go back to, once they make you Black, you can't go back to Indian. They won't let you. So that's cool. We still know who we are. We still know we're the copper colored races. We still know we're not African and that we've been here. But now we got something that we got to get to. It's called reparation. We got to get our money. We got to get our land. And after we get all that, and not just the money and the land, but we got to get on code. This is codified language we're talking about. When we say foundational Black American, that's a very, very codified language. When we say foundational Black American or freedmen, that's a very codified language. We know that all our brothers and sisters who are Indians did not get their land. We know that our brothers and sisters got reclassified as Black and that they gave the land to the red natives, the ones they brought over here that we taught how to be us. Go look it up if you think I'm lying, people. I know it's hard to believe. I know it's hard to believe, but it is what it is. It is what it is. But FBA is a very codified language, and if you've been paying attention to grassroots, if you've been paying attention to the grassroots media, you will know how we're moving. And I know some people got issue with FBA. They think FBA is this, FBA is that, and somebody named 𝗔𝗯𝗄𝐿 is our leader and all this other stuff. It's not true. As a foundational Black American, we don't have a leader per se. There's no leader of a lineage. We are a lineage, not a group. We are a lineage. And there's no leader of a lineage. The only leader we have is a code. We get on code. The code is the leader. Now we have many voices who are vocal and who are loud in the FBA community. Some good, some bad. It is what it is but it's all part of the lineage. Not everybody. We're not monolithic in thinking. Okay. There's FBAs who who stand on business, and then there's FBAs that whenever they see an African, they're gonna punch down on them. It is what it is. But it's not that we did it first. It's that we are responding to what has been done to us. And this is what happens when you open up this can. When you mess around and find out, you mess around and find out. And now that we have come to realize what the non-FBA, the tether class, has been doing to us, this is what happens when you don't check your tethers. Now you got many different FBAs saying many different things and stomping down on anything non-FBA. It just is what it is. We warned y'all. We tried to tell y'all. We tried to tell y'all what was what. We tried to say, hey, man, get your tether class. Check them before we check them. Because if we have to check them, y'all going to get your feelings hurt. Because it's not that we got to lie. We just going to tell the truth. And y'all going to get hit with these truth bullets. You know what I'm saying? These truth pellets. That's what's going to happen. Bullets don't got no name on it. The truth just if you in the way of truth, it's going to cut you too. So you're not crazy. Your people didn't just survive slavery. Many of them survived the erasure of a nationhood. Okay? We didn't just survive slavery. We survived an erasure of a culture, well, not a culture, but a lineage. Because we built it. They destroyed one culture and we built a whole brand new one, bigger, better than ever. We are descendants of the first Americans, but they rewrote you out with the stroke of a pen. We are the original Americans, but they rewrote you out with a stroke of a pen. This is about truth. This is not about guilt. It's about reclaiming our name, our nation, our narrative, our lineage. That's what it's about. Somebody keeps saying, who paid you? The same people that paid you, my darling. The same people that paid you to come over here and be a buffer class. The same people that paid you to call us African when we know we're not African. Our parents never told us that we were African. Our grandparents never told us that we were Africans. Africa, that term Africa didn't even exist 400 or 500 years ago. Your country didn't even exist 400 or 500 years ago. So if you think I'm getting paid, I don't got no Cash App on my page whatsoever. You won't find any Cash App on my page whatsoever. But I bet if we go to some of y'all pages, y'all got y'all Cash App up looking for Sally Struthers donations, looking for rice. Somebody send some rice to their village. They need some rice. Somebody send some rice to their village. They need some rice. They need some Sally Struthers rice to their village. Ain't nobody beg more. Ain't nobody beg more than a colonized. I don't want to go there. You know how it is. You know what it is. You know what it is. So I'm just saying, man, listen. We keep it a buck over here. I'm sorry that our African brothers and sisters don't want us to know who we are and don't want to accept who we are. They don't want to accept that we have a bigger and vaster and greater culture than they do. Or we have the most influential culture. Y'all cosplay as us. We don't cosplay as Africans. We just don't do that. Y'all cosplay as us. We don't cosplay as Caribbean. We don't walk around speaking with the Caribbean accent. We don't walk around speaking with an African accent. But y'all walk around speaking with a black accent. That is a fact. y'all start speaking with a black accent real quick. When y'all be like, sister girl, y'all don't talk like that in Africa. Okay? When y'all come over here and y'all say, you know what I'm saying? Y'all don't talk like that in Africa or the Caribbean. That's a black accent that y'all are using. That's a black accent. So that's you paying homage to us. And we're just going to say thank you. Thank you for spreading our culture all over the globe. Thank you for being a part of spreading black culture, foundational black American culture all over the world. When you imitate us, it looks good. It looks good. It's like, you know, the highest form of imitation is flattery, and we're flattered. Black, see, that's again, you're spinning white supremacy narratives. Okay, that's you wanting to make us them. Listen, you can't whitewash us. Black accent is us. It's not derived from no hillbilly or slave accent or anything like that. Black accent is us. It's just how we speak. We made the listen. The way the world speaks American or American English should be Black American English. Okay, let's just keep that above. The way we speak American English, it's because of black people. Black people. The way we talk American is popular all over the world. You see how that works? Miss Lupita name. Okay, see how that works? See how that works? We can't even pronounce your name. We got waka waka. I don't know who you are. You know, but I know the way we are, the way we talk, everybody. People in Japan try to talk like us, man. I don't see nobody walking around with an African accent in other countries outside of America. But I see everybody with a Black American accent or a black accent everywhere I go. I'm a very well-traveled man, sweetheart. I'm not just here inside the country talking what I don't know. I've been to 12 countries in the last 5 years. You understand? So I know what I'm talking about. You probably been one or two places, UK or America, and that's it. That's it. You're not well-traveled at all, man. We know them green cards and visas can get expensive, and you got to have a little bit of paper if you want to travel. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep it a buck. So let's bring people up, man. Listen, y'all. I don't want to play these games with them. You know, all they want to do is try to report my page and get me taken down. All I want to do is stand on business, y'all. I want to give my people the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So whoever wants to come up, come on up. Let's chop up some game. If you're respectful, I'll be respectful. If you're disrespectful, I'm just going to get you up out of here. That's just what it is. I'm just going to get you up out of here. So anybody want to come up? I'm speaking my language right now, sweetheart. I'm speaking my language. It's called Black American. That's what it's called. It's called Black American. I'm speaking Black American right now. Right now. That's what I'm speaking. What are you speaking? I just said, come to the promised land in our native language right now. See, I don't want to play these games, man. Y'all don't want me to play these games, man. We invented the modern day comedy. We invented modern day comedy. I know she's trolling. We invented modern day comedy, man. Y'all don't want to do this. When it comes to roasting, y'all will never beat us. Y'all will never. Y'all don't know how to roast like we do, sweetheart. Our jokes are funnier than your jokes. Your jokes kind of hit flat. Our jokes kind of sting a little bit, you know? You don't want to do that. You know, it's a rite of passage to roast. It's a rite of passage, okay? You're not part of this culture, so you would never understand. You know, listen, why don't you go start a live? Okay, go start a live on your own platform and talk whatever you want to talk about. You don't got to come over here at all, sweetheart. If you don't like what I'm saying, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, go start your own live. That's all you got to do. Just go start your own live. No big deal. No big deal. We have a language, my darling, but we're not allowed to talk to you about it. We're not allowed to speak it in front of you. You're not allowed to know it. You're not allowed, you know, unlike your language that you speak over there, we're not allowed to teach it to anybody. Okay? We're not allowed to teach to anybody. We're just not. I mean, that's just the truth. I mean, I know you don't like to hear it, but we're not allowed to teach to anybody. Yeah, I know. That's what they come over. They come over here and they crash out. They come over here and they all just crash out. That's what they do. They've been targeting my page since November of last year. Y'all been targeting my page since November of last year. So that's what it is. So we know who we are, man. Anybody want to chop it up? We can chop it up. If not, I'll bid everybody a good night. If y'all want to request up. I'll wait a few minutes, see if anybody want to come chop up some game. Baby, I don't hate my skin. I'm a beautiful copper color. Beautiful. You see this skin? You see these high cheekbones? You see how beautiful I am? You see how sexy, man, girl? Come on, please. I don't hate my skin. I'm proud. I'm proud to be an American. At least I know it's true. Come on, I'm proud. I'm proud. Grab a penny and put it up against my skin, and grab a penny and put it up against your skin, and you'll see the difference. You'll see the difference right there. Yeah, see, that's one thing about Black Americans. We love us. We don't try to pretend to be nobody else. We don't try to go to Africa and pretend to be African. We stick out as Black Americans wherever we go. We don't go to other people's country and assimilate. See, that's the difference. We don't assimilate to other people's culture in their country. We stay who we are. Y'all go from country to country to country assimilating. Why? Because you have to for your very survival. Don't nobody hate their homeland more than a person who fled their homeland. Let me say it again. Don't nobody hate their homeland more than a person who fled their homeland. See, you ever notice that Black Americans, it's not that we don't like other cultures, but we don't try to learn the language of other cultures. You know why? Because we're happy being us. And I'm not saying Black Americans can't speak Spanish or can't speak Mandarin or can't speak French. That's cool. A lot of us do. Some of us do. But we're not going out our way to do that. Why? Because we're happy being who we are. But you guys speak like 5 languages. Why you speak so many languages? Because you need those languages to survive. We don't. We don't. When I was in Germany, they won't even let me speak German in Germany. They want to speak English. And a lot of them want to speak with a black accent. When I'm in Germany, they want to speak with a black accent. They want to talk like me. When I'm in Germany, they want to talk like me. Guten Morgen, gute Nacht. Dankeschön, sprechen Sie Deutsch. But they don't want me to speak their language. They want to speak English. And they don't want to speak that cheerio, my good chap. They don't want to speak that Britain English. They want to speak that American English, that Black American English. That's what they want to speak. They want to speak like me. They want to talk like me. They want to dress like me. They want to walk like me. They want to move like me. They want to be smooth like me. They want to be like me. You bring up True Master. They want to be like me. What's up, brother?
Peace, bro. Peace, bro. You know, when you just said something, it made me think of what I saw a FBA brother talking about, how not just the people in other places, but the YT people here. For a while, when we were young, I remember they used to tell us, don't say ain't. Don't say I ain't got no, or I be doing this, right? As if we're speaking incorrectly.
Mm-hmm.
And now, even the mainstream culture has abandoned all of that. They now saying I be doing this and all of that. They saying ain't. They saying all of the things that we say. And the brother said, so what is classical and what is vulgar? He said, we could argue that what you say is vulgar because ultimately you submit to what I say. What I say is what is dominant and what is classical. This is classical English because you folding and you joining what I do. You understand what I'm saying? Our dialect and our lexicon is the dominant.
Because you're a hip hop head, you're in the music industry, right? Would you classify hip hop as another language?
Well, hip hop has taken all of the
genre,
different.
But could you classify hip hop
to a degree? You can say that. To a degree, you can say that because.
So, what language does the world speak right now? When it comes to music, what language does the world speak right now?
Our language is the dominant cultural English everywhere. You know what I'm saying? They saying everything when they say let's clap back on a post. That comes from the hood. You know what I'm saying? Clapping back. Whatever we say, whenever we say something, eventually what we say was old. Even everything we do, eventually they have to accept it into the so-called dominant culture. But what's the dominant culture really? You see what I'm saying? They playing the trick on us. Our culture is always dominant culture.
Let me ask you a question. When people think of American culture and they think of culture here in America, they don't think about, oh, gee whiz, jolly. They don't think like that. They think like, yo, you know what I'm saying? It's all good. You know, it's like blue and cream. You know, it's like, you know.
Keep it a buck, keep it a bean, all of this.
Keep it a buck. They think us. They don't think white people American. They think black American. When you come from Japan, when you come from China, what are you trying to learn about? Hip hop, our culture, our language, our music. You're not coming over here excited about country, even though we invented country music. But the way they do country and the way we do country is totally different.
Facts.
If we get a hold of country music right now, and I think we should, I think we need to reclaim country music and take it back. I like what Beyonce was doing with that. I think we need more brothers to get into country music. But if we was to take country music back now, we would take country to a whole new different level.
Mm-hmm.
You see the line dances that we're doing right now, that we're learning new line dances right now. They got some stuff with the fans that they're doing out there down south with the fans.
You know what? You said something else earlier, brother. You said about us being happy. We're happy who we are, right? I think the problem with everybody is they're not happy. And this is why, like, when you look at how we just fell back from helping everybody and just got into our relaxing and creating and singing and dancing, right? You don't see that nowhere. You don't see that spirit. You know what I'm saying? And therefore, you know that they're not truly happy.
They're not.
You said we created the modern comedy, right? Have you ever seen really an African comedian? We got what Michael Blackson, okay? But in terms of,
is not really he's an African who plays an African for comedy. He's really more American. He's really more American. It's like he's American playing an African, but he's really African. That's Michael Blackson.
Right. Yeah, but I mean, in terms of, I think our spirit of happiness, and I saw a post where a white tea person said the only thing that white tea people hate more than black people is themselves because they're unhappy, and that they only have to stay in a proximity to us because they need to feel some form of genuine happiness.
Let me
You
let me
know,
let me let me let me say this real quick because you touched on something. I want to just I want to touch. I want to expound on that. The reason why we have more children than a lot of other people is because we're more happier than other people. The reason why the dominant society is having less kids because they don't have a bright they don't have a future as bright vision like we have.
I think, brother, that they don't have as many kids because their fertility is being shut down. They are not fertile like they used to be. I did some research and I saw that there are
That may be
diseases you never
true.
heard of where
That
they're
that
born. Have you ever heard of a black person being born without the ability to produce sperm? There was a
Wow.
syndrome called 47XYY.
Wow.
47XYY, where white people are born without the ability to produce sperm at all. It's zero. The matter of fact,
Like,
they joint is shriveled up. Like the balls is teeny. It's like it's unbelievable. And that's only one of the things that they're naturally born infertile like that. There's many others. And this is why when you look,
I believe you. I don't get me wrong, I believe you, but I also think that it's that what you're saying, and also they don't have a future that looks bright mentality. They have a very pessimistic and negative vision of the future and what the earth is and all this stuff. That's why that their birth rates are low. See, when you're happy and you're comfortable in your skin,
mm-hmm.
you're gonna have more kids than you're gonna have more kids in your next door neighbor. I've actually talked to YT people and they like, you want to bring children into this world? Don't you think this world is bad? Don't you think this world is evil? Why would you want to bring children into a world that's so evil? Now think about this. They're saying that because they're growing up in YT homes, right? What do you think they're seeing in their home that we're not seeing in our home?
that's deep.
Oh,
Think about that. They're saying the world is evil and wicked, and they don't want to bring children into this wicked, evil world. Why are they saying that? What are they seeing in their homes that we're not seeing in ours? What are they seeing in their culture that we don't have in
Well,
our culture?
their DNA inclines them to be into depression, and this is why when you do the research, you see that those Neanderthal things, they have a lot of defects. One is a propensity towards depression. This is why even with creating money out of thin air and having all this material wealth, they're the ones killing themselves. You know, some
Don't use that
with a lot of money,
hold
and
on,
they're not happy, bro.
hold on. Don't use the K word on
Oh, I'm
TikTok.
sorry,
it's
unaliving.
it's
Pardon me.
like, oh, I'm sorry.
Go
Excuse
ahead,
me.
brother.
Go ahead, brother.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I feel like it's lack of the ability to control the narrative. A lot of times that makes him go into this doldrum, go into this like the depression because they can't control the narrative like say their progenitors used to. So now they have to feel a certain way to make them. This is another reason. This is another reason or an excuse for addictions that we don't have. You know what I'm saying? Like there's some certain drugs like we can name off of a list of many different types of drugs. Like, okay, say for instance, marijuana. We already know that's everybody, right? Alcohol, that's really everybody, right? But then you get into like things like heroin, and then you get into things like pills. You know, there's some of our demographic that are involved in that, but who is it mostly?
Exactly, because their culture is much more. What's the word I'm looking for? Their culture. I don't want to say their culture is evil, but let's just say they're seeing things in their home that we don't see in our home. They're doing things in their home that we don't practice in our home.
Well,
Yeah.
peep this. Here's a jewel. They tell you one of the natural cures for depression is to go out in the sun, right?
Yeah.
But what if going out in the sun also harmed you?
Oh,
It's like
wow.
being a child. If you was a child and you wanted to play, everybody's having fun, but you go out and play and the sun is like, no,
Cooking you.
you understand what I'm saying? So it's a difference, and that's why we, being people of the sun, going out into the sun is like being around us at the same time, because we're the people of the sun. So
Yeah.
we are bringing that life and that energy to sustain life, but they gotta dodge it. You know what I'm saying? They gotta dodge this. It's weird. You know what I'm saying? And so, like I said, on a deeper level, some people they're not happy. Some of the white people can admit that. And I saw a post where a man said, "Yo, the only thing they hate more than you is they self. They miserable." You know what I'm saying? And it's real. And unfortunately, it is what it is, man.
Well, see, we come from a loving and a very meek culture. We're very patient. We're very long suffering. We're very loving. We're very respectful people. We have that in our culture. Now, we know that some things happened in the last 60 years, but if we go back 60 years ago and even on back into whatever they call slavery times, and when we had our own tribe, we were tribal people. We had our own tribe. We were very loving and accepting people. What did Christopher Columbus say about us?
He said they were so nice. These people are stupid.
That we were fools.
Fools,
And we
yeah.
convince them into doing anything.
He
And
said these people are so good-hearted, so meek, so gentle that, man, they are perfect for science.
Yeah, and they saw that intellectual deviance as an advantage to take over people when it really wasn't. Like, our intellectual prowess is to build
talking
things, not
about
to
our
deceive.
technology and our level of intellect. We enjoyed sharing that with people. That was exciting for us to share with other people.
Natural
the
teachers.
many things that we're doing over here, the many natural herbs and the technology that we have. We loved and enjoyed sharing that with others, and they took advantage of that. They said, "Man, these people will give you the gold right off the ground. You know, these people, they're so nice. They'll give us the gold right off the ground, right up under their feet." We
And then
enjoy it, man. You don't got no gold where you come from here, man. Take 5 of these big old boulders with you, man. Man, he's cool. Hey, man, you see this plant right here? This plant heals headaches. It heals this. It heals that. Man, rub this on your back. This is aloe. Man, we enjoy showing people. Man, listen. The reason why the Moors became so great is because they kept traveling back and forth to the Americas getting the game. And then using it to be just like the Europeans and colonizing and subjecting other people. You understand? We had the game and we gave it away freely, and we still give it away freely. But now it's a new day.
Yeah.
A new day says we're putting a fence, we're putting a gate around everything, and we're gatekeeping. And we're not sharing anymore.
Yeah, that's a distance, man. Hey, man, it's a good chatting with you guys, man. I'm gonna step out and just roam around for a second, man. Hey, man, sir, you have a blessed day. Oh, yeah, this gentleman over next to me, man. He says, "True master, man. It's good to hear from you, man."
Same here, brother.
Yeah.
Salute.
Man, you have like a real distinctive voice, man. And when I heard you, I thought it was either Pete Rock or Busta Rhymes.
Well, those are my friends, my good friends and shit. But the brother said, those two brothers happen to be, they identify with a Caribbean ethnicity and culture. And so, unfortunately, when a lot of the Latinos were trying to co-opt the narrative of who created hip hop, they were joining in, but they weren't of a Black American FBA heritage. And you got to remember, their parents come directly from there. So that's why. But those are my brothers. You know, those are good friends of mine. You know.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. It is good to hear from you, man. Yeah, I'm gonna step out and do my roam around for a little bit, and then I'm gonna turn it in, man. I'm gonna put myself up. But man, I'm gonna follow. I'm gonna hit you up with the follow, man.
All right, follow back,
All right.
guaranteed.
All
One.
right. One.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. So yeah, man, when you seen all them people try to co-op hip hop, something that is most 100% is 100% foundational Black American, man. How did that make you feel, man?
Well,
When
I
your
was
own friends start to play into that, your own
well,
people that know better.
well, like I said, I didn't really understand until FBA stood up. You know, and the FBA's began. I began to realize any of the conflict to us is always from an outsider who identifies as an outsider. And it's ironic because you have a brother like KRS-One who also is a Jamaican heritage, and they'll say, "Well, KRS-One and Buster said it, and but they're at the same, but they're saying all not Black Americans, Jamaicans, and this and that, and they're all kind of ganging up on us. Like, wait a minute, what the fuck is going?" And that's when I started realizing, hold up, man, we gotta protect our culture because people be secretly hating on us. And there's one brother, I'm not gonna mention his name in the industry. I think I might have mentioned it to you. I mentioned it to somebody. He had asked me, "Yo, man, where your people from?" I did mention that to you, right? And I had mentioned that one of my grandparents, one out of four, because I got three that's rooted here and taught me about my heritage. And I thank God that I was birthed by the feminine here, because I wasn't raised with none of that. But at the same time, they was trying to see if I would join in with that shit. And I was like, what? And so I'm saying to myself, then these motherfuckers is secretly hating on Black Americans. And that's when I started like going, wait a minute.
A la Fat Joe.
Fat Joe was the ringleader, but everybody quickly abandoned that 50-50 shit he was talking about. And then they just started saying, well, now it's at a point where since there's nowhere to run, the Puerto Ricans are saying, well, don't erase my contributions. Who trying to erase your contributions? You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, show us all you got. Do more. Show us what you can do. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, it's ridiculous. But now it's like they had he had to step down from hosting the BET, which is not owned by Black people, and I think they put him in there deliberately, and it might have put a battery in his back, and then he fucked around and they made a bad decision.
What's going on with Matt Hoffa right now? Look what's going on with Matt Hoffa
Exactly.
right now.
I blocked his channel. Once I saw him like that, I blocked his channel.
Yeah.
I blocked his channel. Just like Comedy Hype. I blocked Comedy Hype channel when I saw Tariq Nasheed and he said, well, I don't want no reparations. Tariq Nasheed said, well, where your people from? And then when I realized, because I always had a funny vibe about him, and a lot of people have screamed on him in interviews. And I said, something ain't right here, you know? And it's always that same narrative. That's why we got to stand on business right now. We can't let people come in here, take, while they secretly hating on us at the same time.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
I think we are the most meek people. We're still meek and humble people and love to share with people and help people. But
listen, the earth is ours. The Holy Scripture said the meek shall inherit the earth, man. It's ours. We're the most long-suffering people on the planet, Earth. And that's with an F, Earth. We're the most long-suffering people on planet Earth because we know we can whoop your ass. We know we can.
Facts. As a matter of fact, we might whip your ass and help you up off the ground.
Yeah, we know for a fact. Listen, man, we know we can whoop your ass, but we like, you know what? We gonna wait for this Jesus to come back first. we gonna wait for Jesus to come back first and save the world before we get all hyped up. But we long suffering. We don't want to dominate the globe, even though we can.
But here's the thing, brother.
That's not in us.
You know,
we don't want to colonize nobody.
And that's why we don't really. That's why I think.
All we want is fairness.
Yes.
We want everything to be fair. That's why That's why the whole thing going on with Carmelo Anthony right now. Listen.
You see the energy working, right?
You listen. All we want is that brother to have a fair trial. When the facts come out, the facts come out. But you're not gonna railroad this brother. You're not gonna give him $1 million bond when he's not
and we don't
accountable.
respond. Now they seeing that we standing with ours like they
And we
standing with
raised
theirs.
that brother raised $500,000.
Facts.
We did that. We donated and raised $500,000 to his squad, to his team, to his bail and to his trial. We got that brother a top-notch lawyer. They was gonna railroad that brother and throw him underneath the bus, but we said, not our brother, not this brother. The same way y'all did Kyle Rittenhouse, propped him up, Zimmerman propped him up, Daniel Prenny propped him up. We gonna make sure this brother gets the best lawyer he can get to fight his case, and we're gonna see how it plays out in the court.
I saw Judge Joe Brown recently. He chimed in and he brought up the felony unaliving rule, right? Which is, you can look it up. It's, with the the felony rule, right?
Okay.
It says if you're committing a felony and somebody is unalive, whether it's one of your perpetrators or anybody involved in it, you're responsible also. And so he was saying, if it's true that the Metcalfs stole his phone, which is a felony charge, and broke it, that any subsequent things, even if the DA don't charge them, they can raise that during trial.
See, I didn't even hear that. That wasn't even in the police report. I read the police report, but a lot of stuff is coming out. They're saying a lot of things. Listen, what we do know clear, and this is according to the police report and everything, what we do know is clear, is Carmelo Anthony did not respond first. His response was in direct, it was after they responded, is when he responded. We know that they put his hands on him first. We know that from just the police report, without even new evidence coming out. They touched him first.
Yeah, they definitely started it, and that's why they already. A brother had went over how they was already guilty of the statutes of harassment and assault. Now, let's exclude the robbery charge. Harassment and assault, they already fit the definitions of those statutes.
Listen, I say it like this: both families lost in it.
Yeah. It was a tragic situation.
Lost the son, and Carmelo Anthony, he's gonna have to live with this for the rest of his life. One thing I know about YT people is they always try to get their get back, and they don't let nothing go. This thing is gonna follow him till he's 80 years old. He's gonna be known as, whether he gets off, whether he goes to jail, he's gonna be known as the black kid that stabbed a white kid. He's gonna be known as that. It's gonna follow if he goes to college. It's gonna follow him in college.
Yeah, even I heard that the family have to relocate.
Yeah, if he gets a job, it's gonna follow. Somebody's gonna recognize him. The same way they harassed O.J. Simpson, and this kid doesn't have O.J. money. He's a civilian. So the same way they harassed O.J. and everywhere O.J. went, what happened to Nicole Simpson followed him everywhere he went. If O.J. showed up smiling and waving and giving, there's always gonna be that one YT person like, I hate O.J. No matter what the court says. So this kid is taking an L for the rest of his life because YT people are never going to let it go.
Yeah, they can't let that go.
Look at Carmelo Anthony as you stab a white kid. And this has nothing to do with race. This is two Americans having a dispute and one person stood his ground, and that's all it was. And it's unfortunate that somebody had to lose their life in that incident. It's really unfortunate. I feel for both families, but they all took a loss. One lost the son, and the other one is going to have to deal with the repercussions and ramifications of this case, no matter what the jury says, for the rest of their entire life. Because one thing about the dominant society, they do not forget. And they always try to get their get back. They're going to try to get them with unaliving threats. for dang near half his life. He's going to be dealing with, you know, companies not willing to hire him.
Mhm.
It's going to be so many things that's going to follow this kid behind this thing. And he it is what it is. He's a celebrity. They're never gonna let it go. They're never gonna let it go until they get their get back. That's just how that society is.
Mm. Well, I do have a bachelor's in criminal justice, and I did some research on the self-defense in Texas. And while it's a clear self,
and 9.32. 9.31 and 9.332 stand your ground.
yeah, but the only thing is, there's a standard of what's the word for it? Proportionality with defense. In order to justify deadly use of force, you have to have fear of. It's certain standards which don't apply to him. The only one he can argue is that he was in fear that he could suffer a serious bodily injury. And so he's going to have to establish that for the proportionality.
And he has the perfect defense team to do it because them brothers were 6'4", 225 pounds. And he's like 5'7", 5'8", $135. So already right there, he's coming out on top. And I think it's, like I said, it's going to be very, very interesting because, you know, look how evil the dominant society was. They doxed the judge. They're sending death threats to the judge's house. And the biggest thing about the judge is a Republican. So they can't blame it on liberal or black liberal or Democrat.
Right. Or the left, so-called left.
Look at themselves. This is a conservative black woman who they judge who lowered the bail from 1 million to 250,000.
Mm. Yeah, I think he got some good arguments as well. Once I learned about the felony murder rule in Texas, that's when I said, oh, that's a defense that they can argue as well.
I think he got a lot of things he can argue, man. I mean, of course, the defense is going to try to do what the prosecution is going to try to come from the angle that they want to come from. But he has a strong case for the defense.
Yeah, he does.
Let me hear from Go Hard. Go Hard. Go ahead. Go Hard. Okay, Go Hard. If you're not going to say nothing, I'm just going to drop you down, brother. All right, I'm going to drop you down. Maybe you didn't want to be up here.
Go hard or go home.
That's it. That's it.
You know?
This is just interesting, man, all the way around of how this is all playing out, man. And it's crazy because this would have never, listen, if this didn't make national news, we would have never known about it.
Facts.
And you got to blame the mainstream fake news media. They dropped the ball. They made a mistake. They thought they were going to incite and turn this into a riotous situation. They thought they were going to make this out to be, you know, black versus white. And they messed up because now they got this brother the best lawyers in the business to defend him.
That's good. That's good. And you know, there were a lot of decent white tea people speaking out in his defense and supporting him.
A guy named Tim Pool, who's a conservative white, said this is a clear case of self-defense.
Mm-hmm.
What are we even talking about?
Yeah, man. I mean, you know,
brother for saying that.
Just like you got a lot of people in our own community, and I wonder, are they tethers or what? I always thinking that's how I think. As soon as I hear somebody go against our agenda, now I gotta look a little deeper. But I hear, you know, certain people saying things that don't even make any sense, and they're rushing to why did he have this poker out there? And I'm like, the law out there says if it's below 5 inches, he can have it in school. And that's why they didn't charge him for it, because I would assume you would have also a charge for unlawful possession of a weapon, but they didn't do it because it was below 5 inches. And I remember when I was young, And my older cousin gave me one. He said, yo, this is legal. You can carry this anywhere. It's below 5 inches.
Right.
At that time, pardon me, it was 4 inches back then. It used to be 4 inches. Now it's 5. But, you know, he had a right to have it. He had a right to have it. And that's why that's irrelevant to this.
Well, see, I tell people like this. Listen, I played football and I ran track. Okay. Now, I'm 6 foot, and most of my closest friends are 6'2" and above. Me personally, would I have brought a tool to the track meet with me? No. I didn't need to. You know, my pops put me in martial arts when I was 3 years old. You know, I knew how to handle myself, and I really didn't go nowhere by myself when my people wasn't too far away where they can intervene and do something. So I was always I was known, and I was good in every hood that I went to. But growing up, I knew people that brought all kinds of stuff in their backpack to school for protection because they had to walk through many different neighborhoods before they got home.
Mm-hmm.
I knew, you know, if you're caught in a Hispanic neighborhood at the wrong time, something's gonna happen to you. Let's keep it a buck. So, you know, where I grew up at, you had to walk through all these different neighborhoods just to get home. So I knew people that personally brought stuff to football games, to track and field events, just as protection, because they may be safe on the school grounds, but once they leave those school grounds, they're not safe.
And even on the school grounds, you know, it's dangerous on the school grounds too. Check this out. That's why I said in Texas is unique. Texas, they were in a college campus, right? In the colleges in Texas, did you know that if you have a valid license or you have a right or you're over 18, you can carry a firearm on that campus where he was at? So if an 18-year-old, he's 17, you mean to tell me an 18-year-old could carry a concealed firearm in Texas on the college campus lawfully, but he's a 17-year-old, he can't carry a little pocket knife with a blade that is legally and lawful? He has a right to carry.
Right.
So, you know, the schools, I never saw any state where the colleges are able to carry students in college in Texas.
You know, that field they were on was named after a Black American, right? 𝗤𝗂𝗏𝗵𝘁𝘀𝗀𝗶cie Kendall. 𝗤𝗂𝗏𝗵𝘁𝘀𝗀𝗶cie Kendall is a Negro League baseball player.
Wow.
I met the son of the person that whole track and field stadium was named after. 𝗤𝗂𝗏𝗵𝘁𝘀𝗀𝗶 Kendall is a Black American man who played in the Negro League.
Yeah, I mean, our people here have contributed so much to this country. We like the brothers say, there's nobody more American than us. Nobody more American than us, because this is our land.
Correct. And they hate to see when we claim that. They hate it when we claim that we're American, and they really hate it when we say we're more American. And they really hate it more when we say we're true patriots because we built this for free.
Brother, that's why you can go back and see the copper-colored people with the flags of the American flag, wearing the Confederate flag, wearing this is everything about this is us. America. They took it. It's all there. I mean, it is what it is.
Listen, the biggest scam they did on us is when they tried to tell us we didn't build nothing when there already were homes and plantations that we built here.
Facts. Factory.
We just took them over. You get
nothing new under the sun.
Give me, and that's the evil or the big secret that they don't want us to know. They don't want us to know that we were a great civilization before they came here and even after they came here. Because most of the things that you people use today, we invented it.
Mm-hmm. We taught them law. We gave them that Constitution as a modification of our ancient Constitution.
Iroquois Nation. Iroquois Nation. They got. If you look at the Iroquois Nation Constitution, and you look at the American Constitution, it's kind of. Is it a coincidence that it's similar?
Brother, if you go to Central America, they ruled the government out of what is called the White House in Palenque. Just like, now here's another thing, even with the Moors in Morocco, their capital is called Casablanca, which means White House as well. And if you go back, you find that even electing the chief executive officer on the first Tuesday in November it comes out of our ancient peoples here in Central America. I got a history, bro. I've been studying all kind of stuff, and I all they did was learn from us and imitate everything we do.
Let's hear from John Louvier. John Louvier, you there? John? Going once, John. Are you there? Okay, maybe brother fell asleep. Let's let him drop down. I don't know why people be questing up and falling asleep. That's crazy.
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy. But shoot, man. Let me see. Hold on. Let me see. Let's bring up Brenda. Let's bring up Brenda. Okay, I guess not. I guess we're not bringing up Brenda. Okay. I don't know. People are joining. they dropping down. They don't want to chop it up. I'm gonna send you an invite anyway, Brenda, because I want you to come up here. I like that cowboy hat you got on. Come on up here and talk to us. I'll send you the invite. Maybe you didn't want to come up here, but you got to explain that, you got the cowboy hat on. Okay, I guess she doesn't want to come up. It is what it is. But listen, man, I'm going to go ahead and jump off this thing then, man. I'm going to go ahead and jump off, man.
All right, brother. Well, salute to you.
Man,
and until next time.
Yeah, I'll be back on tomorrow. I got some, man, I got a whole series I'm doing with this thing. I got to walk us through. So we understand and know and understand and know who we are and why we are tied to this land and why we can't allow them. It's disrespectful for us to even allow them to call us African American or African anything. It's very disrespectful. We're not denying that some of us have African ancestry, but it's very disrespectful to say we don't have culture when we are the freaking culture here in the United States. We have more of a culture than other countries have. And that's just a fact. If your country was made in 1960 and we've been moving and rocking and moving in our culture for over 400 or 500 years, keep your mouth shut. Keep your mouth shut.
Yes, sir.
Opinions to yourself. Don't say nothing. We've been doing this a lot longer than you. Even the so-called Zulus culture is not older than our culture, and they're complaining about this Zulu dance they do in Mardi Gras right now. So if you're a Zulu from South Africa, shout out to you, but your culture is a new booty culture compared to Black American culture. Just what it is. All right, man. I'm gonna get out of here, man. Everybody have a good night, sir. Everybody
Peace,
have a good
brother.
night.
Peace.
I'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Peace, love, reparations. Talk to y'all soon, man.